follow-on video to repairing the shower pan that was above here in the epoxy resin that I used to do that. So this repair's been done for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and seems to be holding, no problems there. So we want to obviously fix this, and as you can see, it is a textured ceiling. So the first thing we want to do is put up some really cheap drop cloth plastic, and then also we've pinned that up with blue painter's tape. And then also going across the middle of the room here, just use simple thumbtacks, and you'll want that to kind of come down and flow across this drop cloth that's on the floor. And the next thing we're going to do is start scraping the ceiling and preparing to put a Kilz coat on there. And you have to do that before, it's recommended that you do it before we spray on our new ceiling. And then I've got a little spackling here. I've got to spackle around that and get it kind of leveled out. So that's the plan right now. And last thing I need to do here is turn these lights off and put some plastic bags around those. And then I'll be ready to start scraping. And also you'll want to remember that if you're unsure if your ceiling has any kind of lead in the material, that you wear the appropriate respirators for that. And then lastly, I've got this little spot over here that is from moisture from the shower above. So let's get going. So I want to show you a couple of things right quick while I'm scraping. As you can see here, there's a box shape. So that's where we plumbed the bathtub above and had to cut the ceiling out. And then I used one of these, kind of spray off the shelf ceiling texture kits. So anyway, just kind of want to show you that's what you get out of one of those. And then also the other thing is right up here where I was scraping, there's a hole. And right above there is the toilet. And more than likely the wax ring on the toilet got old and started dripping there a little bit. So that's gonna have to be patched. And then the last thing, I wanted to just kind of show you how this was working out as I'm scraping. Everything's falling down and going right into the center of this tarp. So when I'm done, all I have to do is fold that in, fold it up, and take all the pieces out without getting it in the carpet. So now it's time for a quick update. I've used my mud pan. I've got mud here, and I've got 3 different size knives here. This size here is good for getting the mud out of these small containers and putting that in here. And then use this one to apply. And so that's a good size there, and get in there and scrape off one side and apply with the other side. And then this larger taping knife is actually good for a small project like this, where you don't have a huge area to smooth down. You can use something like this to feather out these edges that I had where I had the ceiling cut out. So hopefully once this dries, I got a couple of ridges here and there. Should be able to sand those out pretty quick, and we'll be ready to spray on the ceiling, I believe. So I've completed the next phase of the project, and that is sanding. And for a small job like this, I like to use a wet sand sponge. And nice thing about that is obviously the size, but it also helps keep down on the dust. Now that said, do not underestimate how much dust you will make sanding drywall. And that's why I have this entire area sealed off, because dust will float through your house like you would not believe. So I'm doing this left-handed, but I just wanted to show, when you sand, you want to do it in a circular direction, such as get down all the hot spots and at some point your sponge will load up, and you just simply go and wash that out and keep going. So I'm gonna finish sanding, and then I think we'll be ready to spray. So one other thing I wanted to point out real quick, and as you can see here, I still have some imperfections in the ceiling. You know what? That is the whole point of doing a popcorn ceiling. You spray it on and you don't have to worry about the ceiling being perfect. So just keep that in mind as you're sanding and trying to get things smooth. It does not have to be perfect. So I'm almost ready to spray. I've mixed my ceiling texture, and I would highly recommend one of these augers that you can hook to a drill to mix that up. So you mix it and let it set for about 15 minutes. I have my hopper sprayer that I rented from Home Depot, and it comes with a couple of different size nozzles. More than likely I'm going to use this one. My ceiling texture is very small. And then of course I have my air compressor. Now I'm not going to go over how to use a hopper and an air compressor and a drill and so on and so forth. You can find a lot of those videos on YouTube already. So, but one thing I do want to point out is that I'm going to practice on this board here and get the texture that I want before I go into the house and start spraying. Okay, so I just want to do one quick clip here with a couple of pointers. If you rent one of these things, be sure you check this connection here and make sure that's nice and tight. When I got going, I had material like running down my arm here, so you want to check that. And then yeah, it's just if you rent something, give yourself about an hour of cleanup time before you have to have the hopper back to the rental place. It definitely takes a solid hour, and you can see how messy you might get, which also leads to little pieces falling off everywhere along the way. So again, it takes a little bit to clean up. Okay, Tailgate Talk fans, this is it. I did all my cleanup. Just having a look here at the ceiling, how good it turned out. And I think it turned out pretty swell. You know what? I can't really see where, you know, I had cut out a huge section here and then another section had been cut out here. If I had to be highly critical, I mean, with the lights on and all, maybe I got a little heavy on the spray right here on this outside edge. But I tell you what, from back here, I mean, it looks pretty jam up. So I'm real happy with it. I can live with it. And if I had to give myself a rating, it would probably be, I don't know, I'd give myself a B. And now I can disclose to you, it is my first time doing a popcorn ceiling. And I'm pretty happy with it. And it's very easy, I think, if you just take time and prepare and just have a good work site prepared, you'll do just the same. It'll turn out well. All right, I appreciate y'all, and like, subscribe, hit that bell, all that stuff, and we'll see you next time. Bye.